Hi guys, I'm Hannah from sunbloomyoga.com, and today I want to talk about holistic health for families. And so I'm just going to kind of talk about this stream of consciousness stuff that's going on in my life and things that are on my mind lately. And so, first of all, thank you for joining me. And if you guys don't know about what I have to offer, you can look at my sunbloomyoga.com website. I offer yoga classes and private yoga, and I offer holistic wellness coaching. So if you're interested in any of those services to help uplift and inspire you to live a healthier life and to help you go deeper into your yoga practice, I'm here for you. So please definitely go check out my services and feel free to comment here or to get in touch with me if you are interested in working with me. I would love to hear from you guys. So today, what's been on my mind lately is finding balance between, like caring for a child and caring for your family and yourself. So, like all those things that you do at home and balancing work responsibilities. Lately, it's been a little bit harder for me right now, just coming out of the holidays, and there's some things like going on in the background of my life. My husband's working like really long extra hours, and so I'm with my child like nonstop, like 24/7, and it's pretty exhausting. It's really difficult at times, and add on top of that, I'm trying to run a business, and I'm also working somewhere teaching yoga, and it's been really hard to balance it all and to manage every little piece of life. Sometimes it just feels so overwhelming and chaotic and out of control, and just like it's just too much. And so I've been working on trying to simplify my life and focus on what's really the highest priorities. And for me, that is the well-being of myself and my child and my husband. And everything else comes second to that. And I just don't operate in a world where I can prioritize work and a job. I have to prioritize my family because there's no one else that's going to take care of us. And if you're a mom and you understand, or dad, if you understand what I'm talking about, it can be really hard. It can be really lonely. It can feel like no one in the world understands your priorities. Even other parents, for whatever reason, maybe they have more of a support system than you, so they have people to reach out to when they need help with, taking care of their child or taking care of their family. So those people who have more of a support system, it's almost like they have greater privilege in their life to kind of take a step back when they need to. And so they don't really understand what it's like for people like myself and maybe yourself if your primary care provider and you don't have anyone to reach out to when you need a break or when you need help with your child. One of the first things that the most popular piece of advice that people tell a pregnant mom or a new mom is, don't be afraid to ask for help. And it, as much as that can be useful for some people, the reality is there are people like myself who don't have the privilege of having, a great network of people that are willing to come help you. And so that piece of advice is not as useful and is actually a little bit divisive and shaming to people like myself who don't have people to reach out to right now. And so if you feel me, if you are a mama or a dad and you feel what I'm talking about, namaste to you. I bow to the light in you. This is hard. When you become a parent, you have like quadruple the responsibility and this many brain cells and that much sleep to go off of. And the world can be really mean. They can be really cruel to new parents when you are doing your very best to function and to make ends meet and to handle all the responsibilities in your life that come your way. And also take care of a small child that needs you 24/7. So that's kind of my rant for right now. There's some things going on in my life where it just feels really alienating that in my life I am functioning at my best, doing my best to manage everything and balance everything. And yet it's not easy. It's not it's not something that I have a lot of help with. And so I'm the primary child care provider for my child. And in our situation, we cannot afford to pay for daycare, and we can't really afford to pay for a babysitter on a regular basis. So it's just sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes I have to call into work because my child gets sick or, something happens and I'm just not able to make it. And then, and sometimes bosses can be shitty and they don't understand, what you're dealing with in your life. And so read between the lines of what's going on. But, I just want to put it out there that being a mom is really hard when you have little kids to take care of. Balancing all the priorities and all the demands of life it feels impossible at times. And so if you are in a situation where you understand what I'm talking about, I say namaste to you. I feel you, and I'm here to validate those feelings. Yeah, it really sucks to be overwhelmed and then have people not really understand like what you're dealing with and how hard you're trying to manage it all. So that's what I'm dealing with over here. So I'm just trying to voice that struggle because I don't hear a lot of that, like I'm on Instagram and like I don't see a lot of people representing that particular struggle. So I want to put it out there that that's me when I'm struggling. And if there's people out there that, are in the same boat, I am with you and I understand and I know it sucks, but we get through it together. So, moving on to another topic, let's talk about healthy families. So, lately, my daughter is 14 months old. So, she's getting to the point where she's no longer like interested in all different kinds of foods. She's actually becoming pretty picky about what she eats. And I'm noticing like she's no longer wanting to eat things with like a more difficult or chewy texture. She prefers foods that are like soft, like purees and like soft little Prager things that she can easily chew and swallow. So it's like she's kind of transitioning out of that baby phase where she wants to taste everything and she wants to try everything. And now she's kind of in this phase where she likes certain things, certain textures, certain flavors, and then she doesn't want anything anything different than that. And so it's a struggle because, she used to eat everything on her plate and just really enjoy the process of eating, anything and everything when she was a baby. And now she is in this phase of, early toddlerhood and becoming more of a picky eater. And, we did the baby led weaning thing, and I worked as hard as I could to like prepare healthy, fresh food for her a lot. And I thought, okay, this is definitely gonna prevent picky eating when she's a toddler. Well, guess what? It didn't. She entered the picky toddler phase. And so, kind of the way that I'm dealing with it is I'm still using the baby led weaning philosophy where I continue to present her with new foods to try, as well as foods that, she has seen before. And I continue to put those foods in front of her, provide those foods, and continue to provide, a balanced meal, which means there's a source of protein, carbs, whole grains usually, a vegetable, and dairy product, as well as a fruit. I usually do fruit for dessert. And I'm noticing that right now she's really not wanting to eat meat. And so sometimes I will put a small piece of meat, like maybe chicken breast or salmon, or even like chicken nuggets or whatever the meat is for the night, pork or uh, beef. I'll give her a small portion of meat for her to try. And then I'll also put hummus because I know she will eat hummus. She loves hummus. And so hummus is a good source of protein for her. Like, really, she'll eat beans of any kind, which who knew, right? And then I try to do like a green vegetable. Right now, we've been doing a lot of green beans and peas and carrots and, kind of the sweeter, more like high protein type of um, green vegetables. And sometimes we do broccoli. Sometimes we'll do like sauteed spinach. She really likes creamed spinach, and we haven't done that very often. I just try to stay away from like, I don't know, just I feel like it's kind of high fat. There's like a lot of butter and cream, and anyway, so I don't know. Maybe I'll do more cream spinach. Anyway, so mostly we do frozen vegetables that are heated in the microwave or in the skillet. She also she she usually likes sweet potatoes, but sometimes she doesn't want them. So I just continue to put them on her plate and let her decide what she's going to eat. And sometimes she ends up rejecting certain things and throwing it on the floor and not wanting to eat them. And as frustrating as that is, I know that babies' brains are developing at such a rapid pace. When they're 1 year old, their taste buds are also developing alongside of their brains. And so 1 week they may love hummus, and then the next week it may be totally disgusting to them and they don't want to taste it. And then the next week it might be fine. So just realize like it's all stages. It's stages of development. And just because they reject a food once doesn't mean that they're not going to like it forever. I've heard, various dietitians and, toddler eating experts say that it takes somewhere between 10 to 20 presentations of a new food for a child to accept that new food. So don't give up, and don't fall into the trap of thinking that this is a waste of food. I know that like sometimes I feel guilty for having to throw a whole lot of food away off her tray, but if you step back and look at it at a different angle, that's a presentation of that new healthy food, and it's one step closer for her to becoming familiar with that food, and eventually she may decide to try it, and maybe she'll even like it. But I think that like the tact that I'm going for is kind of a laissez-faire, not trying to control her, not trying to force her to eat something she doesn't want, but also just allowing her to experiment and experience different foods and, play with them, look at them, throw them on the floor, and, eventually she will, like her brain's going to change, her taste buds are going to change, and eventually I know that she's going to get out of the toddler stage, and the more familiar she is with different food groups, the more likely she will eat a healthy eating pattern through the rest of her life. So, if you grow up eating nothing but like mac and cheese and hot dogs and chicken nuggets, that's the food you're going to be familiar with, and that's the food you're going to turn to and, self-soothe yourself with. And there's nothing wrong with eating those foods in moderation, but they are, higher in sodium. They're lower in those like micronutrients, like vitamins and minerals. And so it's important that if you're going to eat, mac and cheese and uh, chicken nuggets and all those yummy kid comfort foods, it's also important that you're eating that alongside of the more healthy, like higher nutritional foods like leafy green vegetables and lean meats, fish, legumes and whole grains. And so if you're eating a balanced diet, then you can have some of those yummy comfort foods in moderation, and you will be just fine. Your health will be okay because you are getting the nutrition that you need, but you're also, enjoying what you're eating. You don't have to be perfect all the time. Your child does not have to be perfect all the time in order to get the nutrition that they need. And another thing that I heard on one of the podcasts that I listened to is that, we don't need to necessarily worry about kids getting enough to eat unless your child has a health condition, which I'm speaking more to children that don't have health conditions. So if you have if your child has a health condition, definitely like skip this advice and talk to a healthcare provider. I'm definitely not qualified to speak to any health conditions. I'm talking about like generally healthy children. So basically, as long as you are providing your child with several eating opportunities throughout the day, every day, that includes snacks as well as, milk. And so if you're providing 3 meals a day and maybe 1 or 2 snacks, and snacks can be healthy foods like yogurt and fruit, or, cheese cubes and turkey, or, nuts and seeds and fruit, or whatever, like it can be a healthy snack. It doesn't have to be like crackers or goldfish, which are high in sodium and lower in those micronutrients. So when I'd say snacks, I'm talking about like healthier snacks most of the time. But, also there's nothing wrong with balancing in some of those, crackers and, kids' foods, the convenience foods, as long as, you're balancing that. But if you have 3 meals a day and 1 to 2 snacks a day for your kids, generally they're going to be eating enough to the point that they're satiated. No child wants to be hungry. No child is going to choose, to stay hungry. So as long as you are providing those foods and presenting those foods regularly, and if you have like scheduled meal times, that can be really helpful, because number one, it helps the child like to feel emotionally secure and know that they're going to get food soon. They're going to have that need met. And then so that's like the psychological need of feeling secure, feeling safe, feeling like life has a structure to it. And then also physiologically speaking, it helps their body rhythms to regulate when they get a meal at the same time every day. And so making sure that that meal is at the same time every day can really help to set their appetite to where they are hungry enough to want to eat when you serve your meal. So a part of that is making sure that you don't give snacks too close to dinner time. And so that's definitely some like a error that I have made a few times, giving snacks too close to dinner time, because when I'm cooking dinner, my daughter often gets fussy and wants to like come see what I'm doing and be involved, and like she'll get hungry because she smells the food cooking, and like she gets impatient. She's ready to eat right then and there, and the food's not ready. So I give her a snack just to appease her, and then she doesn't want to eat dinner. So what I have been doing is I try to make sure that her dinner is ready first, and I'll serve her dinner while I'm getting my dinner ready. Whether that is good or bad, that's kind of a subject up for debate, but it's the way that I have learned to survive. And then I sit down and eat with her. Like, honestly, she takes a really long time to eat. Like, sometimes it's like 20 or 30 minutes. So I'll have enough time to prepare my food and sit down with her. By the time she finishes her meal, I'm also finishing mine. And that's just the way that I have learned to survive, because I am feeding her meals on my own. I don't have anyone else, any other adults here to help me with that. So that's kind of what I've been doing, and it seems to work pretty well. I set her up in the high chair, and that way, like, I pull her close to where I'm cooking so that she can eat and also watch me prepare the food, because she's super curious about what I'm doing. And so I like to have her involved as much as I can, keeping in mind safety first. Like, I try not to let her reach for something that's hot, that's cooking on the stove, or, I try to keep the knives away from her, and any sharp objects, I keep them pushed further back towards the back of the countertop so that she can't reach them. And I've been letting her stand on a chair and play with the vegetables I'm chopping up. And I'll hold her and let her see me like stirring a pot of food, and I'll talk to her about what the food is. I'll talk to her about like what food I'm cooking, tell her what it is and what it's going to taste like, and we'll talk about how yummy it's going to be. And I'll even let her try certain foods that are safe for her to eat. Just to have her involved in the kitchen and involved in the cooking process. I've been also looking into getting her what's called a learning tower or a toddler tower, which is like a step stool that usually has like 2 steps, and then it has like a cage around the top of it so that she can't fall off of the toddler tower. So I've been thinking about getting one of those so that she can help me, and that she can be safe and feel like She's a part of things in the kitchen. So I have found that as long as she's not in the high chair being served food, she's more willing she's more willing to taste foods as we prepare them. And then when she's like actually in the high chair, she's like, "No, I don't want it." So I think that's kind of like a way that I sneak nutrition in. I'll let her be involved in the cooking, and so she'll taste little things as I'm cooking, like if I'm, chopping up cauliflower or I don't know, cucumbers or fruit or whatever, she'll want to taste it. Whereas if I put that same food on her high chair, she's like, "No, I don't want it. It's green, yucky." So I think that's another little tip. Like when you let your kids be involved in the cooking, they're curious and they're gonna want to taste what you're preparing, and they have fun. Like the other night I was scrubbing sweet potatoes in the sink, and she was just laughing and having such a good time, and she wanted to help me, so she grabbed the scrubber and I was like, "Okay, scrub the potato." And she was just having a ball. And then after the sweet potatoes cooked and I presented them to her on her high chair, she wanted nothing to do with those sweet potatoes. So it's just funny. It's funny how they are, but they really love being involved. They love, spending quality time with their parents, and I feel like I feel like I'm setting a good example. I feel good about the fact that she's already learning about food and how to cook from this young age, and I'm hoping that this will be a tradition for our family going forward through the years. I hope that we will continue to cook with her and teach her about food and different flavors and textures and everything, and let her explore her palate and let her explore all the different foods in the world and let her decide what her favorite kinds of foods are as she grows up. So, um, I've always been really passionate about cooking and like trying to make meals that are as healthy as I can, and including tons of vegetables and fruits, and like trying to figure out how to get more protein from plants rather than meat products or meat and dairy products. And so I feel like really inspired and like rejuvenated and excited when I get to cook with her, because she shows so much enthusiasm and so much excitement to be involved in this process. And so it makes me feel good. Like I feel like I'm being a good mom when I am sharing those moments with her, and I'm making memories with her. And so I think that is kind of what I've been learning and what I've been going through lately. So today I talked about the struggle of balancing home responsibilities and work responsibilities, and how hard it is to deal with employers who just don't get it. And I'm kind of like looking to connect and validate other people, other parents that are going through the same thing. And we talked about, different tips and techniques to help toddlers with picky eating learn to kind of explore and experience different foods without a whole lot of pressure and without like trying to force them to eat foods. It's more like let them play with the food, let them, build a healthy psyche around food, and know that eventually they're going to develop into a different stage. And hopefully, because you're laying a foundation of providing them with familiarity with different healthy foods, eventually they'll get out of the picky eating stage and they'll become a little bit more open-minded and willing to eat those foods. And just trusting your child, trusting that they will nourish their bodies and that they will eat enough food to fulfill their nutritional needs, as long as you are providing eating opportunities that are packed full of nutrition and variety, and um, you know allowing children to be involved in the process of food preparation and playing with their food, and allowing them to choose what they want to eat and what they don't want to eat, and just kind of like, you know, practicing non judgment as a parent. Your job is to prepare the food, demonstrate a healthy lifestyle, and then allow your child to explore within the bounds of the structure and the environment that you set in your home, and trust the process that your child is going to turn out okay. You don't have to force it. So, namaste, everyone. I hope you have a lovely weekend. Thank you for joining me. Leave me a comment and let me know like your tips and tricks if you have picky eaters at home, or let me know maybe like one thing you learned from this video. So I really enjoyed meeting with you guys today. Thank you for joining me. Talk to you later.